Alright, I'll put in piece here. Religious beliefs created in the brain is a mental illness, schizophrenia. All the problems started in the 4th century when Constantine decided to create only one religion out of the cult of Divus Iulius. That was the problem. That was the beginning of all the problems we have today.
It's despicable.
These are people with a powerful narrative, which may be inaccurate and distorted, but is sustained by a real sense
One
of
people believe in Batman to be real, the other one believe in Superman to be real, and they are fighting each other to the death.
It's a lament for centuries of declining Muslim power and prestige, for which the Christian West is held responsible.
Yeah, they invaded.
It speaks of a time when imperial European powers carved up the Middle East between them,
Exactly.
imposing Western law, Western values, even Western dress.
Exactly. Christianity. This is said
It
psychosis.
excuses today's record.
They scrabbled the Native Americans with their stupidity.
Governments with
the South Americans.
oil wealth stolen.
They screwed the civilization with their stupid Christian crap.
From the Shah of Iran to Saddam Hussein, sustained by the West against the will of their own people, and like Saddam, toppled when their usefulness had passed.
Yeah.
The harsher and more painful.
And they all come from the God and Savior Iulius Caesar, or Iulius Christ. They all imitated him.
West and its clients.
All of George Bush is nothing but a Iulius Christ. The same thing, taking after the Caesars.
Not seen as any kind of liberation, but as occupation.
It is an occupation, just like the Crusades. That's the problem. All based on religious psychosis. Like these people are just like the Christian Nazis. Look at the helmets, the same thing. That's the reason we're having a problem.
All the bloodshed these days is the blood of Muslims. Chechnya is Muslim blood.
Exactly.
Kashmir is Muslim blood.
In the 7th century was developed another branch of the cult of Julius Caesar. That's the reason everything is called Abrahamic Religions, which was Islam. And then in the 11th century, the Christian West came around to Jerusalem and imposed their will on everybody else, killing all Jews and everybody for 300 years. Now we have the repercussions of the whole thing.
Even in Jerusalem here, and Hebron, and Shechem, Nablus, all these places are holy places for
all Roman towns,
Muslims and non-Muslims.
Holy Roman towns in the Roman Empire.
Sometimes, like in Hebron,
Say that.
they share the same room.
Judaism comes from that.
The tomb is on the front line between Palestinians and Jewish settlers and is guarded like a fortress.
What people don't realize, a lot of scholars, is the whole thing is a big lie. Actually, all these places were Roman. Roman temples, Roman gods, and everything. And that's the problem. Today, that's the reason they don't find any evidence of crucified zombie saviors.
Mythological record beneath the Church of the Holy Sepulchre makes a strong case that it does in fact cover the authentic sites of Jesus' death and burial.
No evidence, sorry.
Possible candidates. The one that I think has far and away the best chance of being
No evidence.
site is the Church of the Holy Sepulchre.
Yeah, no evidence. I mean, there's evidence of Caesar being a god and the temples and everything to worship him, and he was the Lord and Savior. And where is Jesus Christ? Nowhere. Nowhere to be found.
In tradition, I think one has to accept tradition, unless, of course, you have.
No, accept tradition. Why? Just only if you're an idiot.
I don't think.
You're believing in all this fairy tale. No, what is the evidence?
The evidence taken as a whole does suggest that could be the.
And you know, the whole thing is that all those buildings were built during the time of Constantine in the 4th century. All those churches and everything. They were built by Constantine after. So there's no evidence. Zero. The old Roman ruins all over the place. And the majority of churches, synagogues, and mosques are built on top of Roman temples and sacred places, including the Vatican.
We have to ask ourselves how it could be better.
Yeah, it's an insanity. That's what you have to ask yourself. Religion is a mental illness. We're in the 21st century.
Far from hatred, far from
Yeah,
bloodshed.
you cannot have it with one religion. Impossible. It's a sickness.
The sense of security.
Worship many gods, not just one.
And the church, aided by families, have been teaching lies for 1,500 years to these people. 1,500 years to these people.
Yeah, Just no evidence
There
of.
is no empirical evidence to prove it.
That's right, no empirical evidence. Very well said.
Archaeology enables pilgrims to walk in the footsteps of Jesus. Ultimately, it is a journey that can only be completed by faith.
Exactly. Faith. There's no evidence,
and
people.
history, all these different sciences are marvelous helps to us.
Oh, hell.
The Roman Empire was immense. It comprises all these provinces, including Nadiland, where Jerusalem is. They're all Roman towns, Roman people, Roman gods, controlled by all these different deities that give the palace tremendous intolerance. And here we are, I am in the Museum of the Civiltà Romana, the Roman civilization. This is the model of the city of Pompeii, which I visit too. There is zero evidence of a Christ or anything. The only Christus was Iulius Caesar, the resurrected Savior. And they had temples, they had different gods for Venus, for Saturn, for the moon goddess, for all these different goddesses. This is the temple of Jupiter there. And this temple were built also in Jerusalem to the god Jupiter, to Mars, and to Venus, the mother of Julius Caesar, which people call the Virgin Mary, Maya. You know, how come these people can be so damn stupid? They're ignorant. They don't study this. All this, there is no one single evidence. There's no evidence of crucifixion. There is no evidence of a Christ or nothing. The city was buried by Vesuvius in 79 CE, and there's no evidence. Everything was great. The Roman Empire tremendously tolerant. Everybody had their own different gods, and they give the Roman tolerance. In the moment you start imposing one god on everybody, that becomes a problem. When Julius Caesar died, he was the only Christus. He became the true Christus, worship resurrected. And Octavius, his son, became the Prince of Peace, the Son of God, Augustus, it was called. He developed the Pax Romana. And of course, the religion started getting involved into worshiping only the Christus, which was Julius Caesar. And a lot of branches. And all of a sudden, then you have the cult of the Divus Iulius, of the Christus imposed by Constantine. These are the libraries here in the museum. All these people are very intellectual. Hadrian created, that was considered a Christ. He built the temple in Jerusalem, the so-called Temple of Solomon. It's a Roman temple, and it was built to Jupiter and Venus and Julius Caesar, the Christus. They have mutated, becoming one with Jupiter. That's the temple that the Jews bang their heads on. The stupid Christians go over there believing all this crap. But in the 4th century, Constantine built all this at the instigation of his mother, the Empress Helena, started building all these churches. And he also built the one in the Vatican, which is on top of a Roman temple. It's actually the mausoleum of the family of the Christus Julius Caesar. And in Jerusalem, built that temple. Hadrian built the temple in about 125. And but this is the evidence. There's evidence in Ostraka. There's everything in history. There's a reconstruction of library. These people were tremendously intellectual. They had Greek and Latin. They didn't have English in those days. You know, and Christ is not Jesus' last name. It means Christ, anointed. Means anointed Savior, which Julius Caesar was. Everybody there believed in the Julius Caesar, the Father in heaven, and he was worshipped and controlled by the Roman Empire, which were in control of the religion of the whole empire. But in the 4th century, Constantine decided to have just only one religion, the religion of the Christus in heaven. By this time, the name Pontifex Maximus, which in Greek is Archiereos Megistus, have completely shortened to Jesus Christus, and that's where Jesus Christ come from.
A lifting device known as the Oracle of the Dead was used for strange and occult rituals.
See that?
Amazingly, people were given narcotic drinks and taken to a darkened cave.
See?
Here they would see the priest suspended from a crane like a modern-day magic man. To people of the time, he appeared as an apparition of the dead, flying above them.
Exactly.
Could the ancients really have created such an elaborate machine?
Yeah. They use it on temples.
In the foreseeable future, the truth about the Oracle of the Dead is likely to remain a mystery.
To fool all the retarded people.
Discovering the secrets of how and
the religious
why
idiots
were used
by the great
civilizations of antiquity.
It is a psychosis to believe all those ancient mythologies to be true today in the 21st century. That's because of our problems. Faith psychosis. Pace Dio.